What up, y'all? Corey here. On this episode, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and that is lead generation. And the reason it's one of my favorite topics, it is because it is something that I used to struggle with a lot. And I had the classic buckshot approach where you just spray everywhere and you hope something works, and none of it works. And even when it does, you're like, how did that work? I have no idea what even just happened. How did I just get this lead? And so the key to this is really understand systems, or even in a better term, lead funnels. I mean, a funnel is honestly very important. Just as a side asterisk on this topic, I was recently watching a video where somebody was talking about, basically just talking trash about lead funnels. And I found it interesting because they were saying, like, why don't you just sell them right away as opposed to having them go down this funnel? And I would agree if you had customers that were ready to buy right now and today, but 99.9% of people are not ready to buy from you because they don't know anything about you, they don't trust you, etc., etc. And so for the other 99.9% of people that you do want to eventually become customers of yours, it is, I think, important to understand funnels. This isn't to talk trash to anybody that if you could get a sale right away, for sure, totally do it. But that's not what this is about. This is about understanding the systems that help people get consistent leads on a regular basis, and it's about understanding funnels. And so let's get into it. All right, step number one is to understand attention. The irony in this step is that this is actually the step that most people skip or bypass. They go straight to the podcast show or the YouTube channel or the blog or the website. And although those things are important in your system, honestly, they're mostly useless without this very first step of understanding where are you getting just initial attention. If nobody knows you exist, how could they ever potentially buy from you? An example of this is that I actually host a meetup community here in Austin, Texas, and venues will regularly let me host my community there for free. They might do it out of the kindness of their heart, but honestly, more realistically, they're doing it because they understand the basic of a system. It is top of funnel for them. It is getting attention to their products or services or their memberships at their venues. Another example of this is Costco. There's a reason that they give you samples on a regular basis. It's attention. It's top of funnel for them. If you try one of their products, you all of a sudden know it exists, you know what it tastes like, and now you're more likely to buy it in a later purchase now that you even know it's a product in the marketplace. And so this is honestly the step most people skip or don't put enough time or energy into, is just getting the base level of understanding, how am I getting people's attention? There's a myriad of ways to do this. There's paid ads, there's content, which is obviously my personal favorite. There's networking events, there's hosting your own events. And I really don't think there's a right or wrong answer of how you get attention. I think they all have their pros and cons, but I think the trick on this step is to pick one and get good at it, whether it's one social media platform or just doing paid ads or just doing network events, and just getting really good at garnering that attention in that one specific location so people begin to know you before you even consider the next step of the system, which is what we're going to talk about next. The second step is to build trust in your area of expertise. And I say that very specifically because, well, you can't be an expert on everything. And if you try to be, that actually diminishes your trust on what you're trying to build trust on. And just to give you guys an example, if one week I'm talking about dog walking, and the next week I'm talking about farming, and the week after that I'm talking about lead generation, and the week after that I'm talking about being a good runner, which I'm using all these examples because those are things I've talked about. Admittedly so, it does not build a lot of trust or expertise with my audience. And so if attention starts the journey, then building trust continues the journey. The trick here is, again, to just pick one area of expertise that you really want to hone in on and focus on that. The good thing about this step is that there's really only three that stand out to me that you can choose from. There is audio, which is a podcast show. There's video, which is generally YouTube. And then there is written, which is a newsletter or a blog. And I don't think any of them is right or wrong. I think the trick here is to pick one and really to lean in on it. Honestly, I have obviously chosen newsletters and podcasting, which is obviously kind of two realms, but you don't have to do the same thing. But just like the advice that I give so often is to pick one and get good at it. And the third step in this system is to deepen your relationship. I recently attended a On It gym community workout here in Austin, Texas, and there was a ton of coaches and trainers and gym owners and athletes that showed up for this event. And I'll be honest with you, none of these people showed up to this event because they needed another workout. These were some of the most fit people that I've ever seen on the planet. They were there because they wanted to connect with the community, and there was a specific app that was there promoting to support community and to continue to facilitate what they have already built with their business. And I think that this is equally true for anybody else, no matter what stage of your business you're in, is that you should be thinking thinking long term of where are you leading people and how can you build a community behind it to allow them to continue to foster and deepen those relationships. In my personal and probably biased opinion, I believe that everything starts with attention, continues with trust, and eventually hopefully leads to a community if you want to build something long term. I think another example of this that I think about all the time is a company called BPN, Bare Performance Nutrition, where it really started out as one person just selling supplements, and as that business has continued to grow and facilitate, there is now a whole community behind it that's further pushing this product. And it's completely built on the back of the fact that they started, yes, with an amazing product or service, but then eventually they realized that if it's going to be a continued long-term sustainable thing, they had to find a way to deepen those relationships and to build community behind it. And so just as a recap of those 3 steps to this lead generation system is everything starts with attention. Generally speaking, it's probably going to be social media. The next step is to deepen that trust with people. This is going to be some sort of deeper content, whether it's YouTube, podcast show, blogs, newsletter. And the third step of that is leading them to some sort of community or a way to deepen those relationships. Just as a side note on that topic, you could also possibly do this if you were just flying in to meet people or flying to people to meet them and really deepen those relationships. But I think there needs to be some level if you want to have a long-term business and sustainable community that you have to figure out a way to deepen those relationships with the people that you're working with. I hope this is helpful. Love you guys. Talk to you soon. Peace. Hey friend, thanks for listening to the show, and if you have any feedback for me about the show or any other guests that you'd want to see in the show, definitely shoot me a message. I love engaging with my audience and figuring out how I can provide the best value possible to the people listening to this show. Before you go, I only have one ask of you, and that would be to check out my 3 Tips Tuesday newsletter. It's 3 marketing tips every Tuesday specifically for the health and fitness entrepreneur to help them attract new leads. If you press the link in the description, it'll take you directly to the archive of all my previous newsletters, and you can decide for yourself if it's something for you. If you end up finding it helpful, you can just sign up for the newsletter and you'll get it in your inbox every Tuesday. Thanks again, and keep hustling, my friends.